Thank you, Natalie. It's an honor to be here today. Well, I think when I was listening to the last speaker, right, I could feel that the Spirit was already affirming what I will be talking about today, which is solidarity as a pathway of wholehearted living. Her goals, Twana's goals and desire is to have a place of refuge or transition for women and for men. Today, I think that is even more of a need. As a global community, we are in the midst of a global crisis. The coronavirus pandemic has traumatized our world in a way that was never before seen. Even though we are all affected, we have not all been affected in the same way. We are in the same boat, but some are in the eye of the storm of pain, poverty, and hopelessness. Some people have been left behind. Some people have been left behind. So, what does it mean to live a wholehearted and wholesome life in this situation as it is today or of crisis? I believe to live wholeheartedly is to live in solidarity. Again, that was what I heard from Twana, who just was the last speaker. Solidarity is not about saying the right words to other people in the midst of their predicament. Words are not enough. Words are not enough. In one of his interviews during this pandemic, Pope Francis cautioned against multiplying words. He said, quote, "The last thing I would do is to tell them something. The last thing I would do is to tell them something. Rather," he said, "what I try to do is to make them feel that I am close to them. What I try to do is to make them feel that I am close to them." My profound desire to make people who are vulnerable and marginalized feel that I am close to them led me to a new project that I have created in the Gambia, in West Africa. I'll come back to this story shortly. So, I am originally from Nigeria, and I have lived and worked in the US for over 2 decades. That's a long time for me. Although I left Africa, Africa has never left me. Over the years, since coming to America, I have found myself yearning for ways to assist women and girls in Africa to have access to opportunities for a dignified life. My deepest desire is to share all of the abundant blessings and privileges that have become mine as a Nigerian American. My heart is drawn toward many women and girls in Africa who face a myriad of challenges, such as lack of education, child labor, sex trafficking, early childhood marriages, and poverty. How can I nurture and mentor young girls into fullness of life as a way of showing my closeness to them? So for me, solidarity is not an abstract word. To live a life of solidarity is to make ourselves vulnerable. It is to make our hands and feet dirty because we are not afraid to be out there in the streets and alleys, highways and byways, seeking out the poor and the marginalized, raising the weak and the excluded to their dignity as women, men, and children created in the image and likeness of a loving and compassionate God. So a few years ago, I attended a conference of African theologians in Nairobi, Kenya. During the conference, I asked to be taken to the edge of town to meet ordinary people. We're in this lovely Jesuit building and it all looked good, but I knew there was more. So I arranged to meet some young girls at a school in one of the slums called Kibera. Meeting those young girls in Kibera was love at first sight. I immediately adopted them as my daughters. So they call me Mom Ann instead of Sister Ann, and it feels really good. I told them that they could dream. They are allowed to dream. They have every right to dream, and that all their dreams are valid if they would persevere with me and especially with their God, who I believe will grant them their heart's desire. So this was my way of letting them feel that I was close to them. The 6 girls changed my life forever. I began to see things differently, even as I struggled with the materialism of the West. I was always aware that I had too much and had nothing to complain about. I was always challenged to be a voice for them. All this was my way of letting them feel that I am close to them. So later on, I went back and I adopted 6 more girls in the same Kibera slum. So now I have over 12 of them because their cousins and friends have also become my daughters. I try to reach out to them and provide assistance and support through a project that I co-founded called Wellspring Africa. As I speak to you today, I have set my sight on the Gambia to lift up more women and girls. Through my local contacts, I have identified 7 girls who dropped out of schools and would like to learn to be cosmetologists instead of being out in the streets where they are exploited and abused by men. When I spoke with each one of them, I could feel their fire and their passion for something dignifying and life-giving. These girls are beautiful and intelligent. All they need is a little push. So I shared their stories with my religious community. 2 sisters, Sister Deborah, who is here with us today, and Sister Lisa, decided to join me to set up a GoFundMe drive with the help of the pastor of St. Nicholas of Nairi in Encino, California, where my community is located. We were able to raise 4,000 in 8 days of our total goal. I think we're 5,000 today, still to get to this, for our goal of 25,000 to get to this project started. We've registered this project as an NGO already, as called Daughters of St. Joseph in Bakita in the Gambia. So we are now in the process of registering it as a non-profit here in the US. So starting in August 2021, our goal is to set up and run 2 pilot programs in Banjul, Gambia. One, a drop-in day center for vulnerable women and girls. This program will provide counseling, accompaniment, and psychological support to at-risk women and girls, and provide informational and awareness on hygiene and sanitary practices and human rights. as needed. Cases will be referred for social intervention. And two, to have a vocational training and entrepreneurship. So this program will provide short courses in fashion, tailoring and sewing and beauty and cosmetics, hairstyling and design, two popular means of self-employment in West Africa. So participants will be provided the means to start up their small businesses and earn a living with dignity for themselves and their families. We will recruit some of my Kibera daughters from Kenya to the Gambia to live there and create programs of different kinds for the girls in the Gambia. So when I connected with Gertrude, whom I have admired and followed for many years, I realized that something good was about to happen. I had cried and lamented to God and then got a loving response from Gertrude. And here I am today. When I did the first project, when I adopted the Kibera girls, I never asked anyone for money or support. But today I'm calling on women and humanity to help me with the Gambian project as an act of solidarity to make them feel that we are close to them. Women need women to help them dream, to help them imagine the best for themselves, and to lift them up. Women need women to help restore their lives and dignity. When I think of solidarity, I remember how relationality and interdependence are so vital on how we understand our human existence. The expression that best articulates this worldview is the saying that a person is a person because of other persons. Oh, I am because we are. This principle, as most of you must know, is commonly known as Ubuntu. It means that mutuality of human relationship, interdependence, and solidarity takes priority over any other personal interest, calculation, or gain. It means that we are not isolated and self-sufficient beings. As human beings and as people of faith, we depend vitally on the support of other people to achieve self-fulfillment. We belong to one another. That is why in some parts of Africa, when people meet one another for the first time in the morning, their greeting is, I see you. I see you. When we live a life of solidarity, we see one another. We honor one another. We lift up one another. And we abandon the fear of allowing ourselves to be moved by the immense suffering of women and men in the world in order to walk patiently with the crucified people and broken earth. I see you, you see me. Together, let's see the women and girls in the Gambia across Africa and the world. Thank you.